Hello my dear students, welcome to NAK Academy. In this video I am going to discuss binomial expressions, questions related to product of two binomial expressions and squares of binomial expressions. So in my previous video I have explained what is a binomial expression, and we discussed few example questions related to product of two binomial expressions. So further I am going to discuss some more example questions related to product of two binomial expressions. So let's take another example of a product of two binomial expressions. Or before that I would like to say we discussed these binomial expressions which takes the form of ax plus y, ax plus y form, which means questions or binomial expressions something similar to like this: 2x, let's say 2x plus 3y. I'm going to take the product of 2x minus 3y. So this is 2x plus 3y takes the form of ax plus y. In other words, there are coefficient values for x and y. Coefficient value means the constant value of the terms x and y. In this example, the constant value or the coefficient of x is 2 and the coefficient of y is 3. Now let's take the product of these terms. So as I mentioned you earlier, first what you have to do is you multiply 2x with this whole bracket 2x into 3y. So if I indicate with an arrow, so simply 2x you multiply with this whole bracket. So the steps we write: 2x multiply with the whole bracket 2x minus 3y. So that is the very first term you write in order to expand this binomial expression. Then again the next term is 3y. So 3y you multiply with this whole bracket. So plus 3y I am going to multiply by 2x minus 3y. Now we can multiply each term of this expression. So 2 multiplied by 2 is 4. X multiplied by x is x square, or x to the power 2. Then we have to make sure we multiply not only the terms, also the operators. So 2x carries a positive value, or rather we say it is plus. So plus we multiply with this minus, so plus into minus is minus. 2x multiplied by 3y, so it is very simple. You first multiply the numbers. 2 multiplied by 3 is 6. X multiplied by y is xy. So minus 6xy. So similarly here we get plus 6yx, or I would say 6xy, both are same. Though you say 6yx, also it is equals to 6xy. It is just the matter of writing the alphabet letters in the proper order. And the last term is plus, again you multiply with minus, so minus 3 multiplied by 3 is equals to 9. Y multiplied by y is y square. Now here, as you can see, there are two similar terms that we can further simplify, minus 6xy and plus 6xy, that can be simply eliminated, because minus 6 we can eliminate with plus 6. So therefore the remaining terms for this expression would be 4x square minus 9y square. So this would be the answer for this particular expanding of binomial expression. So let's take another example. Let's say expressions consist with fractions. So we'll say 2a plus, so I'm going to include a fraction over here. So we'll say 2a plus 1 over 3b. 1 over 3b. 2a plus 1 over 3b. So we are going to take another expression as, let's say, a plus b. So this is another example where we get one algebraic term as a fraction. So now I am going to expand this expression. So as I mentioned you earlier, first you multiply 2a with this whole bracket, you expand, then again you simply expand 1/3 b with a plus b. So if I write the steps, 2a we multiply by a plus b, then the next term is plus 1/3. So the fraction comes into play. 1/3 b, I'm going to multiply by a plus b. So now you can start expanding these terms. 2a multiplied by a is equals to 2a square, because a multiplied by a is a square. Then the next term is plus 2a multiplied by b is 2ab. My third term is 1/3 b multiplied by a. So it's simply 1/3 ab. So if I write that, I get here 1/3 ab. So I'll just mention 1/3 ab plus, so the last term would be 1/3 b multiplied by b, so that is 1/3 b multiplied by b is equals to b to the power 2, or in other words b square. So here also we find there are two similar terms, that is 2ab plus 1/3 b. So that calculation is very simple. um, you can simply take 2 plus 1/3. So that is your you're going to simplify a number with a fraction. So you get the denominator value as 3. 3 multiplied by 2 is 6. 6 plus 1 is equals to 7. So you get 7/3. So this is simple calculation that you have done in your previous classes. So I'm going to write the final answer as 2a square plus, so here you get the simplification of these two terms, as I mentioned you here, 2 plus 1/3, so that is 7/3. So I'm going to include the fraction 7/3 AB plus the last term, which is 1/3 b square. 1/3 b square. So this would be the answer for this particular expanding this binomial expression. So similarly you will get expressions including positive values as well as negative values. So the same question you can rewrite and give a try as 2a plus 1/3 b multiplied by a minus b. So if you take your exercise book which contains, if you go to exercise 4.1, the very first exercise you have question m and n, which includes fractional values, expressions with fractions. So you can follow the same way that I have done in this example, and you can keep doing those questions. So with that I am going to conclude product of two binomial expressions. Now let's see our next topic, which is squares of binomial expressions. So squares of binomial expression means, which is very simple. So in other words, what you are going to do is you multiply the same terms, is you take the square of the binomial expressions. So if I start with a very simple example, a multiplied by a is equals to a square. As you can see, both are similar terms. Both are similar terms. So if I little advance this question as, let's say, a plus 1, which is one algebraic term. So I'm going to multiply by a plus 1 again. So you can follow the same rule as we did for the previous examples. So if I write the answer directly here, I get a square plus 2a plus 1. So what we are doing here is, instead of different binomial expressions, we are multiplying, or we are taking the squares of binomial expressions. So let's take one example which consists in the form of ax plus y. So I'm going to mention 2a plus 3b. 2a plus 3b I'm going to multiply with 2a plus 3b. Why? Because we are going to take the squares of binomial expressions. In other words, we take the same term of the square. So if I rewrite this again, let's say I can write 2a plus 3b, the whole thing is square. So actually this is the expanded form of this 2a plus 3b into 2a plus 3b. So let's expand this binomial expression and see how we derive to the answer and how to easily memorize and we write this the final answer instead of writing the steps. So as we follow the same method, 2a we multiply by 2a plus 3b, then again 3b we multiply, so we must include the operator, plus 3b multiply by 2a plus 3b. So 2a multiplied by 2a is 4a square, plus, because all the values are here carries a positive symbol, so therefore when you multiply plus into plus, it is always plus. So 2a multiplied by 3b is 6ab. Again the third term also 6ba, which is also equals to 6ab, plus 3 multiplied by 3 is 9, b multiplied by b is b square. B square. So again you can see the similar terms. So we write the final answer as 4a square plus 6ab plus 6ab is equals to 12ab and plus 9b square. Now if I compare the answer with the question, I can find something beautiful and I can remember this easily like this: 2a plus 3b, this whole square, which is the square of the binomial expression. So the final answer we got 4a square plus 12ab plus 9b square. We got 9b square. So this is the easiest way for you to remember. As you clearly observe this, the first term is the square of the first term. The last term is the square of the last term. Why I am saying square of the first term? Because if you take 2a, square of the first term, 2a whole thing as a square, which means which means 2a multiplied by 2a. So that is equals to 4a square. So you take the square of the first term and you write the first term of this expression. And always remember, when we take the square of binomial expression, our answers, we end up with 3 separate terms, as I written here. So we write the square of the first term, and if you observe the middle term, how we derive to the middle term is we multiply 2a, which means the first term, and we multiply the second term, 3b, which is equals to 6b that particular value again you multiply by 2, which means that is equals to 12ab. So first term we take the square of the first term. In order to write the second term, we take the product of the two terms, which means 2a multiplied by 3b. Again that term or the answer we multiply by 2. We double it. So we get 12ab. So that is the middle term. Then the last term we write square of the last term. So the last term is 3b. So we take the square of the last term, which means 3b square. In other words, 3b multiplied by 3b, which means 9b square. 9b square. This is how you derive to the answer. You take square of the first term, then you write the first term. Then remember you multiply the two terms, which means plus 2a we multiply by plus 3b. That means 6b. Again 6b we multiply by 2. So which is equals to 6ab here. 6ab we multiply by 2, which is equals to 12ab. Then the last term is we take the square of the last term, which means we take 3b the square, which is 3b multiplied by 3b, 9b square. So let's do another example question in order to get familiar with this type of binomial expressions. Now in this scenario, in this example, let's say I am going to include a negative value. So we'll take example 2 as something like this. Let's say 2b minus 3s. 2b minus 3s of square. Whole thing is a square. So they want us to expand this. So how we expand, as I mentioned you earlier, so this is square of a binomial expression, which means we write 2b minus 3s into 2b minus 3s. Still, if you are not familiar to write this answer in one step, always you can write these steps, and you can get familiar by doing more questions. Then you can write the answer in one line. So if I write the answer here in one line, as I mentioned you earlier, so the very first term is you take the square of the first term. You take the square of the first term, which means the first term is 2b. So we take the square of the first term. That means 2b multiplied by 2b multiplied by 2b, which is equals to 4b square. So that is your first term. So I am directly writing the answer. So the first term is 4b square. 4b square. Now we are going to write the second term or the middle term. So as I mentioned you earlier, we take the product of the two terms given. So in this scenario it's 2b, we multiply by minus 3s. So we have to consider the symbol as well. So in here, in this example, 3s consists with the operator minus, so we consider minus symbol, otherwise we end up with the incorrect answer. So plus 2b carries plus, plus into minus is minus, 2b multiplied by 3s is 6bs. So that is the second term or the middle term, minus 6bs. Now we are going to write the last term, which means square of the last term. So the last term is minus 3s. So I must take minus 3s square, which means minus 3s multiplied by minus 3s, which is equals to minus into minus is plus 9s square. So my last term or the third term is 9s square. 9s square. So if I recall again, square of the first term, that is 2b square, that is 4b square. When we take the square we get 4b square. To write the middle term or the second term, first we take the product of the two terms, that means 2b multiplied by minus 3s. I'm sorry, here I need to multiply again by 2, because that value we multiply by 2, so we get minus 12bs. I'm sorry, it is not minus 6bs, it is minus 12bs, because we multiply the two terms, again that particular term we have to multiply by 2, so that is minus 12bs. And the last term we take the square of the last term, which means minus 3 square, minus 3s multiplied by minus 3s, which is equals to plus 9s square. So this is how you expand a given square of a binomial expression. With this two example, I will conclude this video, and with the next video session I will be discussing further example questions related to squares of binomial expressions. So we will discuss more questions, so you will understand better on this. So and we will take some questions from your textbooks, and we see how to solve those problems as well. Thank you so much for watching this video, and please like, share my video and subscribe the channel NAK Academy. Thank you.